officials, South Korea and the United States will conduct major joint military drills known as Freedom Shield from March 9th to 19th. The exercise is described as defensive in nature but has long been a point of tension with North Korea, which views it as a rehearsal for invasion. The drills will also support preparations for the transfer of US wartime operational control to South Korea. South Korea aims to complete this transfer by 2030. While President Lee Jae-myung has sought to improve ties with North Korea, these efforts have so far been rebuffed. Discussions on scaling back certain training aspects are ongoing, as the exercise will also address North Korea's nuclear weapons threat. Let's listen to what military officials of both nations had to say.
한미는 연합방위 태세 확립을 위해 3월 9일부터 19일까지 FS 연습을 시행하기로 하였습니다.
Freedom Shield 26 is an annual exercise that is defensive in nature. By incorporating realistic threats, lessons learned from recent conflicts, and a challenging security environment, it will serve as an opportunity to further strengthen our readiness and capabilities to combine joint all-domain operations. This exercise will also serve as an opportunity to support ongoing preparations for a conditions-based wartime operational transition consistent with alliance.
And joining us again, we have Dr. Asta Chadha, who is an Associate Professor of International Relations at Ritsumeikan University in Kyoto, Japan. Now, Dr. Asta, how helpful is it for North Korean and South Korean relations for this exercise to be undergoing while they're in the negotiation of better relations between the two countries?
Right. I mean, at least here in East Asia, the fear of the eruption of a possible conflict, whether it is on the Korean Peninsula or close to the Taiwan Straits and something coming to Japan, it's very real. And the governments we see increasingly in East Asia are preparing for that possibility. So this Freedom Shield exercise, which is primarily being conducted as a computer simulation exercise, is being conducted keeping in mind a hypothetical conflict on the Korean Peninsula. And we do know that, North Korean, South Korean relations have not been faring very well. Irrespective of what administration it is, there might be a slight shift of stance with regards to, how they envision the future relationship. But the current reality cannot be ignored, which is that both those countries do not foresee a peaceful future for each other, not in this tense environment. With regard to this exercise, together with the US, I mean, South Korea is an ally of the United States. This exercise is not just a projection of US presence militarily, but also US commitment. The fact that they are testing their operational capabilities, the fact that they are testing interoperability, does show that they are going to be involving more beyond computer simulation. They're going to also be engaging in field training maneuvers, which could become a possibility if US continues to maintain and probably even increment its defensive posture against North Korea by stationing its military on the South Korean soil, which is something, by the way, they also do here in Japan from time to time. But again, I mean, I must say that with a word of caution. North Korea, at least as we've been reading and hearing from their end, they have neither taken these drills as a positive sign of peace in any way. They have rather termed them as invasion rehearsals. North Korea also continues to conduct its own provocative missile testing, which again, continues to fuel this feeling of uncertainty and insecurity in South Korea, which is why US alliance continues to be very central to peacekeeping, any peacekeeping dreams that South Korea might have in the Korean Peninsula.
So just touching on what you said earlier, Dr. Asta, about how both South Korea and North Korea don't see a peaceful future in their relations, how do you see future threats like North Korea's development of their nuclear program affecting these relations, but also their joint future, the joint military drills between South Korea and the United States, but also the drills in North Korea?
I mean, you asked a very good question and quite relevant, given that, for a long time in East Asia, I think ever since 2024, I think there has been this fear of getting US to be more engaged and more involved and more committed to the security in the region, specifically when it comes to Japanese security and South Korean security. Now, in case of this particular exercise, like I mentioned, North Korea has never viewed US military presence or US alliance with South Korea in a positive light, for obvious reasons. And hence, their provocative missile testing or their testing for nuclear proliferation is seen from a North Korean perspective as a necessity, as something that they need to retaliate against the US with. So that is seen as some kind of a leverage, I would say, which is why, irrespective of what sort of dialogues are being held between North Korea, South Korea, or what is the projected future of peace between these two countries and the politics, the way it works in the Korean Peninsula, nothing really directly answers to the fears of a major military demonstration or the possibility of future nuclear testing under the Kim Jong-un administration in North Korea. So those two are pretty much, I would say, they exist separately. So political talks about possible peace cannot go hand in hand in the Korean Peninsula together with US trying to conduct these security exercises with South Korea, because there is a basic rupture of trust that has been, as is that gap has been continuing between North Korea and South Korea for a very long time. And hence these continued exercises, whether they are involving United States, whether they project South Korean insecurity, or counter provocative missile testing that continues to happen again by North Korea as a response to US presence on the Japanese soil or on the South Korean soil, does reveal to us that East Asia continues to remain a very hot region with regards to the possibility of an outbreak of a conflict. So yes, I would agree with you. We do not foresee any cessation or any ceasing of nuclear testing by North Korea either. Rather, this is likely to provoke North Korea into further action.
Dr. Asa Chada,